Her Radiant Curse by Elizabeth Lim. Chapter 11. The fight is over, but I cannot move. I am still shocked by the abruptness of my victory. I glance at the dragon, taking in the intricate webbing of his wings, the sheen of his scales, the blood flowing from his knee. Funny, I expected him to bleed red, as a human does. As I do. But his blood is as black as ink. A reminder that he's anything but human. That, skilled as I may be, he is 100 times the warrior I am. Yet he left that opening. He let me win. Why? The dragon's eyes flicked to mine. With a flip of my stomach, I remember that, like Yucker, he can hear my thoughts. Thank you, I say. He doesn't respond. A soldier emerges from the crowd. He is holding a blue feathered dart, and he shoots it into the dragon's neck. The dragon sags to the ground, wings falling so fast that a few villagers scream and tear away. As Megua's servants drag him back into his cage, pity blooms inside me. This is the first time I've recognized a little of myself in someone else besides Vanna. The villagers are applauding. Minutes ago, they were shouting for my death. Now they part for Prince Rangio, who approaches with an outstretched hand. On his palm is my wooden mask, cracked but still intact. Wordlessly, I take it from him. His attendants surround me. I'm fanned and lifted onto a rattan chair, and the little gold bells sewn onto the attendants' vests tinkle as they carry me to the temple dais. My sister's face fills my vision. She takes my hand, a flush high on her cheeks from running. You did it, Chani. Tears stream down her face, and she grabs my hand, drowning me in her light. Thank you. Thank you. I'm too tired to speak, but I am content to see Vanna so happy. Slowly, the blood rushes back into my face. I slide my paring knife under my skirt, its weight heavy on my hip. I am rank with sweat, and there is dirt all over me. Linhing nudges Vanna away, but my sister doesn't let go of my hand. Well done for a demon girl, Dakwak says, patting my shoulder. I shrug him off, but he is still smiling at me. I am glad you won. Perhaps you can be of some use after all. In the near distance, Megu is conceding victory to Prince Rangio. I hear the words snake and dragon and a rumble of unpleasant laughter from Megua's belly, but the rest is lost. All I want is to drink a jug full of water and lie down for hours. Prince Rangio extends a hand to me. I am in your debt, Shinari. Please permit my servants to tend your wounds. I ignore him and dust off my tattered skirt, and used to such attention from a prince, no less. I'm fine. The prince is persistent. At least allow one of my servants to carry you home. We thank you most graciously for your concern, Your Highness. Ada interrupts, but Shinari is capable of walking home alone. Ada starts pushing me along, but even in my exhaustion, I won't budge. I'm not going anywhere until the selection is over. Understand this, Prince, I say to Rangio. I have not won her for you. I have won for her the right to choose. I turn to my sister. End this. Let's go home. Vanna's eyes go back and forth from me to Rangio and back to me. She's torn. She doesn't know this prince, but he's everything she hoped for: handsome and young and, so far, good-natured. It's as if she wished him into being. That's when I realize I've won one battle only to lose another. Rangio, curse him, takes both Vanna's hands. Choose me, he says softly. You have my word, before the witnesses of the island of Sundow, that the day I am crowned king, so too will you become my queen. Vanna looks up at him. I will choose you. A firm pause. If you will grant me one favor. Anything. She raises her voice so all may hear. Allow my sister to accompany us to Tyanen. My eyes fly up as Ada gasps in disapproval. Sweat trickles down my temples, and I watch the prince blink as he mentally formulates his reply. He'll refuse in a nice way. Then the crowds will cheer, and Vanna will come home. I should be honored to welcome your sister to my palace. I choke on my own spittle. What? Vanna releases Rangio's hands and takes mine. You're coming, Chani. She beams giddily, as though we are children again. We'll be together, just as I promised. Her joy is overwhelming, and while she squeezes my fingers, I catch King Mega whispering something into Dokwok's ear. Apprehension coils inside me, but I push it away. The entire village has witnessed Vanna make her choice. There is nothing Mega can do. Will you come now, Shinari? The prince asks kindly. The servants on my ship can tend to your injuries. It seems I don't have a choice. I start along until Dokwok intercepts me. May I assist? He asks, bowing so low his wooden necklace touches the ground. The Temple of Dawn is right here, and my priests and priestesses would be honored to tend to Shinari's wounds. You. Vanna turns on Dokwok. You nearly killed her. Forgive me, I did not recognize her. I did not realize she was the Golden One's sister. That's a lie, Vanna, cautions Linang. With a glance, our stepmother reminds her that we are still in the public eye. The temple is more suitable for healing Chani than the prince's ship. It is a generous offer. She will be in good hands. She'll be in the best hands, Dokwok says smoothly. Look how tired she is, how hurt. The ship will be too far for her. I will take her to the temple and then see her safely to the port. You have my word on it. I glare at Dokwok, not trusting him at all. But what can he do? Lock me up? No. Prince Rangio is expecting me on his ship. Maybe the priest is simply feeling generous in his joy that Sundow will soon be one snake fewer. Rangio makes a hesitant nod. My servants will fetch you an hour before dusk. Is there anything you'd like them to retrieve from your home? That's when it finally hits me. I'm leaving Sundow. I'm leaving my jungle. I need to tell Yukur. Ignoring the prince, I urgently turn toward the trees. Most of the serpents I freed have fled the marketplace, but a few remain within reach. Find Yukur, I entreat them. Tell him it's over, and I'm leaving Sundow. Ada touches my shoulder, an act that startles me back into my present surroundings. She has some clothes, Your Highness, he is answering. Not much else. My wife and I will bring them. My father won't look at me, but he is less angry than I expected. It is settled, he tells Dokwok. Clean her up. Dokwok makes a grand gesture of placing his scarf over me. I'll see you soon, Chani, says Vanna. This is the beginning for us. Her light fans across the temple. I've never seen her so happy. I should be happy too. As I said, Vanna has a way of getting what she wants. Soon she will be a princess of Tambu, and one day the queen. Poets will write about her for centuries, and musicians will compose songs about her long after she is dead. It's everything she's ever wished for, and it will make a splendid tale for generations to come. A tale of dreams and love and hope that children will clamor to hear before they sleep. But this is not Vanna's tale. It is mine. It's late, and Otto reeks of wine as he stumbles into the courtyard with Vanna and Linding holding him upright by the shoulders. My sister's selection is half a year away, and Ada and Dakwak spend many evenings feasting in anticipation of the riches she is soon to bring. "Good night, Ada," says Vanna. "Good night, Mother." She goes to her room and blows out her candle. Her window goes dark. Soon, Ada and Lean Tongs does too. But I know she isn't asleep. Before long, the kitchen doors creak open and my sister tiptoes inside, gracefully navigating by the light of my simmering soup pot. She slides next to me on my cot and quickly throws my quilt over herself. "I brought presents." By presents, she means supper. Out of her purse, she takes 2 wings of beggar's chicken, stuffed with clay pot rice, still wrapped in a lotus leaf, still warm. I bask in the smell. Vanna watches me eat. She looks tired, and I can't blame her. During the day, while I'm supposedly doing my chores and keeping hidden, she has lessons in the temple. Singing, dancing, reading, writing, embroidery, everything a great lady supposedly needs to know. Usually, she bubbles to life when we're together. She'll show me what she's learned, even teach me from her lessons, even though I have little interest in how to say such and such informal tomboon or make my writing look curly and elegant. We'll share a midnight feast with whatever she's managed to scrounge. Tonight she's different. Withdrawn. I'm not training to become a great lady, so I can talk with my mouth full. What happened? She combs her fingers through my hair and starts to braid a lock. "I was just thinking how lucky I am to have a sister." I tilt my head. "If you're so lucky, why do you sound so sad?" "I love our nights like this," she says quietly. "Getting to talk to you without Ada around. Sharing what we've done with our day." I hear what she leaves unsaid, pretending like we aren't worlds apart because of how we look. "Do you think," she says, "that we'll still have nights like this after I leave Sundow?" "You don't have to leave Sundow. You could stay." "Stay," she echoes. "On this tiny speck of the earth, where you can walk from one end to the other in half a day. Where the jungle makes up most of the land, and we've only one real town and a few scattered huts on the beaches. We used to live in one of those huts," I remind her. "I know, but the world is vast. I don't want to stay here forever." Her voice rises, filled with a passion I've rarely heard. "I want to sail the emerald seas and hear the yon birds of the Suma Desert. I want to climb the 1,000 steps to Gada's temple on Jor. You know I've never even left Sundow before." "Yes, I know." "More than once I've stolen boats and tried sailing us to the continent, where the gods are different and the land's so broad you could live 100 lifetimes without seeing a demon. But every time, high seas and violent winds stopped us. Angma might have vanished, but I can feel the power of her curse thwarting me at every turn. You won't miss it here?" Vanna turns wistful. "Of course I'll miss it. I'll miss the reedy quay where we used to jump up and down, waving at ships and trying to get them to stop over. I'll miss the peddlers with the stale coffee biscuits and those jars of salty dried mystery fruit, all cut up to look like mushroom slivers. I still don't know what the fruit was, I say, chuckling. But we were addicted for years. I'll miss the moon orchids you bring me on my birthday, says Vanna softly. She's finished braiding my hair. Will you come with me, Channy? She asks then. Wherever I go, will you be there too? You know that's out of the question. Ada won't. Never mind Ada. Even if he says no, I'll send for you. She bites down on her lip. Will you come if I do? I haven't thought much about our lives past Vanna's 17th birthday, but that isn't the only reason I hesitate. As much as my sister yearns to leave Tambu, I'm the opposite. I yearn to stay, to retreat into the wilds and never come out. But it is the hardest thing, saying no to Vanna. She is the root of all my suffering in that way, but she is also the bringer of my greatest joys. When she is happy, I am too. I wrap my arms around her and we press our cheeks together, the way we used to do when we were little. Her cheek was always too warm, mine always too cold. Together, I'd say, we were just right. Whenever you need me, I promise, I will be there. Vanna hugs me. There's relief in her eyes, as though she was afraid that I'd say no. To this day, I wish I'd asked her why. Chapter 12. I'm too tired to protest when Dokwok and his priests steer me into the Temple of Dawn. Thick clouds of incense assault my nostrils, and my senses dull as I'm led past chamber after chamber. An old priestess brings me a shallow bowl of water. I suck it down greedily. The dryness in my throat vanishes, and the drink slakes my misgivings about coming into the temple. When I'm finished, the priestess beckons, and against my common sense, I trail her deeper inside the temple. The last time I was here, I was a child. I would come early in the morning, before other worshippers arrived to pray, and pick a spot in the darkest corner. There I prayed to Gata. His statue is enormous, surrounded by daily offerings of fruit and wine. I wanted to look like the other girls in Puntalo, but I thought a normal face would be too much to ask for. I wish for a nose, I begged instead. Let it be wide or narrow, straight or hooked, small or big. I won't be picky, but let it be a nose. I pause before the prayer room, almost certain I'll find Ashley among the priests praying to Gata to bless Vanna and Rangio's union. But Dokwok's son isn't here. Next, I pass the courtyard of ancestor worship, where Ada used to pray to Mama before he forgot about her. Bronze bells hang above me, and lizards scamper along the temple's wooden beams. By the time we reach the end of the hallway, all I can think about is a stool to rest my aching feet. Every muscle hurts, and there are bruises as big as oranges on my ribs. I always thought of myself as a warrior, but compared to the dragon, I am barely fit to stand on my own 2 feet. Why did he let me win? I shiver, remembering Megua's face when I won the duel, all pinched and tight, like he'd skewer the dragon alive if he had a spear big enough. The dragon will be punished, that much I know. Guilt prickles my conscience, and I don't like it. I'm not used to feeling indebted to a stranger, much less a dragon. At last the priestess leads me across the temple's courtyard to a squat house behind the pond. A bath has been drawn inside. I'll return with fresh clothes, says the old woman. I prefer my own. The priestess doesn't argue. And I'll bring ointment. Dokwok's generosity makes me frown. Prince Rongio's one, I remind myself. Maybe Dakwok regrets betting on Megu and is trying to curry favor by being kind to me. I undress quickly, draping my tunic over my knife before the priestess comes back. A silk handkerchief falls out of my pocket, the one from the Kiet and Emperor. I hold it in my palm, and it unfolds like a lily in bloom. I've never owned anything so soft, so graceful. The spot of my blood is dried, no longer poisonous. But I wash it off anyway. I wonder if I'll see Hanryu at the port. Whether he'll tell his 7 children about his strange trip to Tambu and how he'll have to continue his search to find them a new mother. I might not know him or his family, but I know what it's like to lose a mother. For his children's sake, I hope he finds them someone with a gentle heart to love them as he does, and I hope she will be better than Lin Eng was to me. I tuck the handkerchief back into my pocket. Slowly, I sink into the wooden tub. Although the water is only lukewarm, it scalds the burns and scrapes on my skin. I grimace through the pain. It's a sign that I'm healing. Already the welts on my arms have evened out, and my bruises have faded to a brownish yellow. I scrub myself clean, taking extra care with my left ankle, where the Serpent King bit me 17 years ago. The bite festered for days, turning my veins green. Ada wouldn't pay for the local doctor to look at it. Secretly, I think that after seeing my face, he was hoping I'd die. But my ankle healed, even if my face did not. Today, the skin is smooth, except for 2 puncture wounds. Only in my dreams does it ever hurt. The old priestess awaits with ointment for my burns. Her face is so wrinkled I cannot tell if she's smiling or frowning, and she squints at my approach. The ointment smells strongly of turmeric, and it stings. For both reasons, I cringe. Don't move, she warns. It'll hurt more if you do. I grasp my knees, holding myself still. Her fingers steadily smear medicine across my arms, and I hope I don't have any open cuts. Even if she is one of Dakwok's priestesses, I would hate for my blood to burn through her skin and possibly kill her. It was brave, she says, talking to get my mind off the pain, what you did for your sister. You were nearly killed. As if I need the reminder. Is Ashley here? I ask, changing the subject. He'd want to say goodbye to Vanna. The priestess ties the skirt around my waist, makes a neat bow on the side. His father has asked him to help put the marketplace back in order after today's proceedings. He'll be away the rest of the afternoon. My chest goes tight and old resentments flare. Find him, I mean to say. Tell him that Vanna's leaving. But I don't. I owe Ashley nothing. I put on my mask, and when the priestess isn't looking, I tuck my paring knife back under my skirt. We're finished, and I follow her back to the front of the temple. Channy? Channy, where are you? At the sound of Yuker's voice, I perk up. He doesn't sound far. I'm in the building past the courtyard, I reply. Wait there. I'm coming. I quicken my pace, but just ahead is Dakwok, waiting in the main prayer room, under the shadow of Gada's statue. When he spies me, he flashes a wide smile. Tea stains yellow his teeth, and from how red and puffed up his cheeks are, I can tell that he's about to say something self-important. I try to sidestep him, but he offers me a thin handful of joss sticks and gestures for me to light them with the candle before the altar. The The smell is spicy, a waft of cinnamon and jasmine and smoke. I open my mouth to catch a fresh breath. I doubt Dokwok will take my refusal well, but still I say, Prince Rongio is waiting for me. The prince is a good, religious boy. I'm sure he would allow you to pray one last time with your father's shaman. Gada's enormous shadow looms over me. He is bald, as he is in every statue, with a kind, toothless smile under his beard and a round belly. For a god of mercy, he hasn't been very merciful to me. No wonder I've never liked him much. Still, my curse is not his fault, so I bow 3 times, stab the joss sticks into the burner, and turn to leave. Dokwok's priests, appearing from the chamber's anterooms, block my exit. They're muttering words of enchantment, and though they are third-rate sorcerers at best, I can feel the wards they're putting up around the temple to trap me inside. I tense. Let me go. The prince is waiting. Still kneeling before Gada, Dokwok chuckles. I will never understand your sister's attachment to you. Let me go, I repeat. You nearly incited a riot, Shinari, says Dokwok, as if I could forget. You must understand that Vanna can't have you at her side while she is queen. What will the prince's people think? No, your destiny lies elsewhere. The candles behind him flicker as he rises from his prayer. Fortunately for you, Shinari, you have your own buyer. I hate how he keeps saying my name, but I hate most of all that he has my attention. My own buyer? It's the reaction he wants. He watches the muscles of my arms go taut as the truth sinks in, and stings. He sneers. Did you really think your father would let you live in the palace with Vanna? I don't answer. Ada is cruel, but he wouldn't sell me. Not like this. Would he? Run, Channy. Euchre cries from the distance, but his warning barely registers. Anyway, I can't run. Ada's betrayal has turned my legs to jelly and my nerves to ice. I think of Mama lying on the bed, of Ada howling when she died. The blood blooming and blooming on the sheets, and my last night of thinking I was her moon-faced girl. He was always going to send you away, Dokwok goes on. He kept you only because of Vanna. But now she's leaving, and as a future queen, she won't have time to think of you, her wretched, monstrous sister. You see, Shinari, there's no use for you anymore. Hate boils inside me. I remember every time Dokwok has encouraged the village boys and girls, even his own son, to throw rocks at my back, has pushed the idea into Ada's and Lintong's heads that Vanna be auctioned off. I rammed 2 of Dokwok's priests into each other, clapping their heads together like thunder. Then I reach for the paring knife on my hip and drive the blade across Dokwok's face. He screams, high and shrill like a child. The sound makes me falter, for I would never hurt a child. But when I hold him down, my palm pressing against his 2 slippery eyebrows, my rage rushes in again and spurs me to action. I press my knife down harder, as if I'm scraping sap from a tree. He has impressive lungs. Some of the candles shudder from his howls, and a few even go out. Finally, when my knife slices across his lip, he goes silent. I think he faints from the shock. That's enough. I need to run. The doors are bespelled, so I can't get past. But like I said, Dokwok and his priests are third-rate magicians, and they didn't enchant the windows. I smash through the wooden lattice and vault into the courtyard. I run straight, and before long I see the gate. I can hear the birds outside squawking. I can smell the heat of the afternoon beyond the temple's cool walls. Only a few more steps and I will be free. It never occurs to me that I should have asked who Ada sold me to, because deep down I already know. How many priests does it take to catch a snake? Rumbles a familiar voice. King Mega sidles to the front of the temple, surrounded by a troop of men that block the gate. He claps as though my escape attempt were a performance and I have entertained him. His men have swords at their sides and bronze shields strapped to their backs, but none of them makes a move to draw their weapons. I should find that odd, but I'm too preoccupied by Dakwak's damned priests. The snake girls disappeared. One shouts. I don't need to look to know where Yukur is. I can feel him, slowly slithering above us, crawling along a wooden beam. We've hunted together for years, Yukur and I, and now that King Mega has arrived, Yukur's counting on me to keep him busy. When the time is right, he will swoop down from the ceiling and bite Megua's neck, paralyzing him. And I will deliver him the death he deserves. I mark the closest guard as my first target. The urgency of my task forces my mind to work quickly, and I launch my attack. I fell the man with one hit, then move to the next guard and the next. Soon I'm halfway across the courtyard, inching closer to my victory and escape. Except I don't see the dragon. In a whir of blue, he smashes through the rafters, dropping down before me. Debris rains, wooden tiles collapsing from a roof in one of the covered walkways. Megu and his guards have already moved to the sides. This was planned. I shield myself with my arm, try to fan away the dust obscuring my vision. Where did the dragon go? A wing slams into my side, answering my question. My knife flies from my hand and I crash against the wall, toppling the statues around me. I duck under an altar before I'm crushed. There, I suck in a desperate breath. I can feel Yukur hanging from a wooden beam, offering to help. I don't look at him, for fear the dragon might notice. I can handle this alone. The dragon's waiting for me to get up. Like earlier, I can feel that our minds are connected, as if tied by some invisible string. I tap into his thoughts. Stop this. We can help each other. His response is to land a punch in my ribs. I double over, the wind knocked out of my lungs. He was definitely holding back earlier. I'm sure of it. He let me win. Well, he's not letting me win now. Something is off. Something is different about him this time. He grabs me by the shoulders. I kick, I bite. But his skin is tough as a crocodile's hide, and my teeth do not even draw blood. I twist around in his grip so I'm facing him. In the jungle, I've often felt small compared to the trees, the winding vines, the falling waters. But never have I felt as helpless as I do now, being forced to size myself up to this dragon, to confront the interminable breadth of his wings and his dominating height, the dark expanse of his face, with those two strange eyes. And it arrives at last. What is different since last we fought? His movements are confident, unfettered, because he's no longer chained. Megu is beaming as he sees the realization dawning on my face that the dragon wasn't imprisoned at all, that he might not be a prisoner, but, you. I blast into his mind, you're in league with Megu. The dragon's mismatched eyes lower to meet mine. I swing up for another kick, but it's pointless. As before, I barely have time to blink before his head comes bashing into my skull. I jerk to the side, dodging the brunt of the strike. Even then, the whole world goes ringing, and I clench my jaw as my head throbs, overwhelmed by a febrile heat. Gods, I wish it were my breath, not my blood, that were poison. Oh, the hell I would unleash if that were the case. I spit at the dragon, then turn to spit at Megu, but the king plucks off my wooden mask. And at the sight of me, he does something no one has ever done before. He lets out a low, approving whistle. The sound makes the fire in my gut go out. I'm suddenly cold, suddenly afraid. A true wildling, he murmurs in my ear. You'll be the prize of my collection. Duckwalk appears at Megua's side. The arc of my blade is carved into his skin, like one of the swooping letters Vanna's tutors used to make her practice. It must hurt hellishly. Be careful, the priest rasps. His eyes glitter with hate. She's a demon, that one. Fortunately, I have experience with demons. Mega throws the priest a disgusted look. Clean yourself, old man. Chastened, Duckwalk wipes at the blood dripping down his face. He straightens his robes too, which are rumpled from our earlier encounter. Better, says Megu. He's found my knife, and he taps it idly against his palm. Now, what will you tell her father if I take her? Doesn't matter. Quan will be glad to be rid of her. Duckwalk knows just how to hurt me. His words about my father sting, because I know they're true. Mega grunts. Makes me wonder what he did in his past life to father such children. One the greatest beauty this world has seen, and the other a monster. The king chortles, and Duckwalk joins him. The dragon doesn't make a sound. Neither do I. I can't even call out to Yucker, for fear that the dragon might hear me and tattle to Megu. I'm on my own, and I fight to lurch free. The dragon has to use both hands to hold me still. A small victory. At least I'm not that much weaker. Negua's laughter fades, and he glances at me struggling against the dragon. When he addresses Duckwalk next, his voice takes a darker tone. What will you tell Prince Rangio? That she ran away into the jungle. Who would blame her? They'd make a mockery of her in Rangio's court. True enough. It's a deal, priest. The king flicks a hand, and one of his manservants passes Duckwalk a heavy pouch of coins. Duckwalk's eyes light up with glee, and he bows low. The wards are lifted, so you may depart, your majesty, he says. I will return to my prayers. Indeed you shall. Megu abruptly raises his chin, and his guards tackle the shaman. What are you? Duckwalk's cry turns into an ugly grunt. He stretches hopelessly for a bronze bell hanging from the ceiling. But Mega falls upon him, with a little knife raised high. My knife. One thrust down, and Duckwalk drops flat against the ground. His panicked eyes turn to me. He is already graying. He garbles something I can't understand. A plea for my help, perhaps? Or a command to his priests outside? I'll never know. Nega takes the knife out of Duckwalk's belly and slits the old man's throat. I don't want to watch, but I can't turn away. The priest is choking on his own blood. His eyes roll back in his head, and his once slippery eyebrows form a wrinkled knot. Then his muscles release, and he finds peace. A holy man should not be so mercenary, King Mega says, retrieving his heavy pouch of gold coins and skiing at the dead shaman. Disgraceful, putting on an auction to raise money for the temple. Don't you think, Shinari? I don't have time to respond. From above, Euchre falls over the dragon's eyes and bites him in the arm so he'll release me. Go, Channy. Euchre cries as the dragon flings him against the wall. I run. Megua's guards try to chase me, but I'm faster than any of them. I'm not, however, faster than the dragon. One step from the door, his shadow is upon me. His hand slaps over my mouth, sharp nails grazing my cheek. I ram my elbow up to his chin and jam my bone into his neck. I will kill him. I will kill all of them before I become Megua's prize. Finish her, Haksu. Mega shouts from behind. At that, my head snaps up. My eyes bulge, my heart leaps in my chest. Haksu? No, it can't be. I must have imagined it. For years, I've searched for the owner of that name. The name that the Serpent King promised would help me. Serpents of Hell. My curiosity gets the better of me, and I glance back at the dragon. It's a mistake that costs me everything. Megua's guards surround me. One yanks me back by my hair, and another gags me with a cloth, tying it so tight my temples throb. Then the dragon raises his arm like a club. The last thing I see is Euchre, slithering up a guard's leg and coiling himself under the shield on his back. Chapter 13. I spring up in the darkness, and my head thumps against a low ceiling. A string of colorful expletives spills from my mouth, but the words come out muffled. Right, I'm gagged. I'm Megua's prisoner. There's a hemp sack over my head. Explains the darkness. I yank it off and untie my gag. The new air clears my head, and I blink my eyes into focus. For walls hold me in, just like home, except the room's swaying back and forth, back and forth. The rhythm's unrelenting, and if I watch the walls too long, I can feel my stomach start to rise to my throat. Wonderful. Just wonderful. I am on a ship. So much for going to Tyanin with Vanna, for being welcomed in the palace as the princess's honored sister. So much for protecting Vanna from the demon witch. My chest tightens with despair. I must be halfway to Shinlani now, seas away from Rangio's kingdom. A thick coil of rope lies on the ground. It has been gnawed, which explains my free hands and feet. Euchre couldn't have done this, could he? Euchre. I call out. No answer, but as I speak, I taste a bitter note on my tongue. A sedative of some sort. Nice try, Mega. I lick my lips clean of the poison. It will have no effect on me. I get up. My sandals sink into something soft and moist on the floor, too rank to be dirt. Disgust pulls in my gut. At least the pain in the back of my head, where that dragon struck me, is dulling. That dragon, Haksu. The name makes my breath burn in my lungs, singeing my composure. I've searched years for him. Searched the jungle, the fields, the valleys and low hills all over the island. Some days I even brought Vanna, carrying her on my back after rubbing camphor oil over her smooth skin so it wouldn't attract mosquitoes. She helped me yell, Haksu. Haksu. He'll come looking for you one day, when you're older. You'll need him, the Serpent King had said. I never had a chance to ask him what he'd meant, but I assumed this Haksu would break my curse and help me fight Angma. I assumed he'd be an ally. I ball my fists. The world rocks and chains rattle down the slanted floor. I use the walls to steady myself. Clink, I jerk back with a painful grunt. Metal bites into my neck, cold and unforgiving, and I choke as I fall against the wall. My fingers scrabble at the weight around my neck. There's a damned color there. Bronze. My eyes are as sharp as a snake's, even in the dark, so I can tell from the sheen it casts over the wooden walls and over my thighs as I struggle to rip it off. No use. I'll need a key to get it off. Or an axe. Behind my neck is a shackle fastener, sticking out of the collar like a hook. A thick metal chain slinks down my spine, and I follow it to where its end meets the anchor in the wall. There. I crouch and press my feet against the wall, digging my elbows into my thighs and wrapping the chain around my arms until it burns into my skin. With all the power in my body, I pull. Little by little, the anchor grinds free, writhing through the wooden wall like a mouse clawing its way out. Then in a rush it flies out and crashes at my feet. Careful, hisses a familiar voice. Fool, do you want the guards to come back? Euchre slithers through the hole I made in the wall, his cool scales brushing against my ankles. I've never been so relieved to see anyone in my life. How did you bite through my ropes? I whisper. The rats did it in exchange for me not eating them. But now I'm hungry. I almost laugh, though Euchre's not in the mood for humor. I gather that the dragon betrayed you. If I'd known a dragon was pretending to be Haksu, I'd have warned you earlier. His voice is so vehement that I sit up. Warned me about what? Dragons. They're our cousins, so we don't seek strife with them, especially since they mostly keep to their own realms. But we would never ever trust them. This I didn't know. Why not? Because of the first dragon, Hanamanya. He betrayed us. Euchre won't say more. The grudge is one that the snakes have buried long since anyone can remember. You can't blame all dragons for the sins of one. Can't I? Euchre is a champion at holding grudges. It seems yours isn't trustworthy either. He has a point there. You don't think he's Haksu? My father would never prophesy a dragon coming to your aid. Never. There's no use debating this with him. Let's just try to get out of here. Euchre eyes the metal anchor at my feet. I pick it up. There's nothing I can do about getting my collar off, so I will have to carry this cursed chain around. You might as well stay in your cell. Where can you go with that chain weighing you down? The sea? You'll drown. What happened to your optimism, Euchre? Don't forget, he adds, smirking at how I lumber about, you're not a very good swimmer. My head hurts too much to argue. I throw my chain over my shoulder. I feel naked without any weapon, so it'll have to do. Where's the door? Behind you. I immediately spy the crack in the wall Euchre entered through. He's unbolted the door from outside, and I push. Beyond my cell is the ship's cargo hold. Cages swing from the ceiling, some wooden, others wrought of iron. Birds cheep from baskets that are covered by blankets, and I hear a growl or two from one corner of the room. But no snakes. No Haksu. To think how indebted I felt to him after the duel. Now I regret I gave him only a scrape on his knee. I won't make that mistake twice. Euchre stands alert on his tail. They're coming. I hear the footsteps a beat later. I spring for a dark corner as the ship lurches, but stumble into the wall just as two guards enter. The tall one blocks the exit hatch, and he swings a torch toward his companion, who's younger and has a long, flat nose and floppy ears, like a rat. No more spying. I pretend to be unconscious, lest the torches catch the glint of my yellow eyes. The guards don't even notice me. The tall one passes the door I escaped from, not even noting I carelessly left it ajar. His torch tilts at the largest cage, and a flash of blue-green snags my attention. Haksu. I tense. So he is here. Shouldn't he be above deck with King Megu, peeling him longan fruits and swatting away mosquitoes? The guards throw him something, and Haksu sniffs. You call this a meal? I smell fish upstairs. Bring me some of that. You're in no position to make requests. Be lucky there's even meat on these bones. Come now, that's no way to treat King Megu as champion. The tall guard spits. You lost. To a scrawny, snake-eyed brat. Maybe because I'm so ill-fed. Maybe because you tried to escape. You know the rules, dragon, and you tried to break them. Megu is displeased with you. I wouldn't want to be in your place when we reach Shinlani. The queen will understand, Haksu says silkily. Now let me out. It isn't polite to keep royalty in cages. Royalty. The tall guard snickers and turns to his companion, whom I'll call Rat-Face. Still thinks he's the king of the dragons, doesn't he? He's just acting this way to get out of a beating. Rat-Face draws closer to the dragon's cage, and my eyes follow. Haksu has definitely been punished. Dried blood crusts his scaled cheeks, and one eye is bruised. I cannot see his back, but I'd wager it's covered with new lash marks. Euchre slinks across the ground, darting me an impatient look. What are you waiting for? I hesitate, unable to ignore the twinge in my chest. What if what if he's really the Haksu I've been waiting for? Euchre flicks his tongue, exasperated. That thing is one of King Megua's beasts. He could help us. He could betray us. Still clinging to that ancient grudge, Euchre. But based on Haksu's record so far, he probably isn't wrong. Crouching lower, I steal into the shadows, behind the stairs up to the hatch. Meanwhile, Haksu springs to his feet in his cage and grabs the guard's wrist. Bones crack, and the dragon smothers Rat-Face's scream with his arm. You'll pay for that, says the tall guard, taking out his whip. It slices the air with a visceral crackle before it comes down, lashing against the dragon's hide. The dragon doesn't holler. Instead, he looks right at me, those two mismatched eyes boring into mine. My heart stops and my foot knocks against a cage. Birds chirrup to life, wings flapping. Serpents of hell. I curse. I drop to my knees and hide behind the cage, hoping no one heard. The tall guard heard. What was that? Dread curdles my stomach. I need to get moving, but my muscles won't work. Haksu saw me. He's still looking at me. Rat-Face is on the floor, writhing in pain, but it's not long before he starts to clamber to his feet. I claim the big one, Euchre says, getting straight to business. Which leaves me Rat-Face. I can't go far with the chain weighing me down, so I jump on his back as if he's the tiger I fought yesterday. His nails dig into my arms, imprinting little sickles. He tries to throw me off, but I cling tighter. I don't let go, Not until I drive his head into the wall and he melts onto the deck. Euchre's guard is also unconscious, sprawled over a wooden barrel. Euchre's venom doesn't kill like my blood does, but it can paralyze a man for days. How many more above? I ask Euchre, taking the guard's whip. Too many for you to handle alone, Hoxa replies. Gone is the mocking tone he took with the guards. At least 7 more, Euchre replies. Dislike simmers between him and Hoxu, and he ignores the dragon completely. I can tackle 1 undetected. 2 if the first doesn't scream. But that will leave you to fend off the rest. Not great odds. I pick a key off Ratface's belt and try it on my collar. It isn't a fit. Only Asheria can remove that collar, says Hoxu. The queen. It isn't Maggie you should be worried about, he says darkly with a nod. Toss me the key. He doesn't wait for me to oblige. His tail sweeps at my ankle, swift and slender as a rope. As I fall, he snatches the key and unlocks the cage door. To my bafflement, he remains inside, letting out a long sigh as his wings uncurl through the open door. What are you? I demand. Negua's prisoner, or you won't win by trying to escape the ship, he interrupts. You need to stay until we get to Shalani. I'm done with the dragon's nonsense. I throw the whip over my shoulder. If you won't help, then Euchre and I will get out on our own. Hoxa grabs my arm. I am helping you. I whirl to view him. During the tense minutes that I fought him in the marketplace, I'd memorized the way he moved. Graceful and fleet of foot, his wings like 2 lethal extensions of his arms. In the cage, he doesn't look half as fearsome. His red eye is less virulent, less murderous. But I'm no fool. I'll take my chances alone. I twist out of his grip and leap for the hatch. I've forgotten how fast he is. In 3 beats, I have my hand on the door. In 4 beats, Hoxu is out of his cage, has leapt to the top of the stairwell, and is blocking me from exiting. What will you do after you overtake the guards? He whispers harshly. Even if you can fight them all off and subdue Megu, where will you go? Do you know how to sail a ship? No. Do you? I retort. Yes. Hoxu unfolds his wings. I can help you. Just not here. His hand is on my arm again, and I'm startled that I didn't notice how it got there. I shake him off. You expect me to believe it'll be easier to escape Shalani than the ship? Yes. I don't get to demand why. What's all that noise? Someone above us bellows. Footsteps thump closer. What's taking you so long? Hoxa leaps back down into the hold, but I stay at the door. It swings open, and I hit the new intruder neatly in the groin before kicking him off the stairs. Let the dragon deal with him. I hurry onto the deck. There's laughter and music coming from the front of the ship, enough to cover the sound of my violence. I hope. The noise is coming from a tent in the middle of the ship, marked by bright orange lanterns and a line of servant girls carrying platters of curried vegetables and spiced rice. The smells make my belly stir. There, I murmur. Nega must be there. What exactly is your plan? Euchre asks. I grind my teeth. Attack Megu. Hold him hostage until someone gives me the key to my collar. Then swim to Tyanin? Euchre says dryly. It's a terrible plan, but I can't think of anything better. Except maybe killing Megu instead of holding him hostage. Yes, that would be better. I slink close to the tent, keeping away from the pools of torchlight. My face blends with the green banners hanging over the canvas. When a snake hunts, it is an invisible predator, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike, and that is the method I take now. I seek my targets, 3 guards standing 10 yards away. Euchre is already slithering behind one, gliding up his spine, and silently smothering him with his tail. Before the other 2 notice, I sweep behind them and knock their heads together. I don't bother watching as they crumple to their knees. Holding my chain close, I climb up a stack of crates for a better vantage. I almost have a clear view of Mega when I hear Euchre cry out, and my blood goes cold. Below, guards spill out of the tent. I should stay hidden, shouldn't make a sound. But it's impossible, because Megu has Euchre. What a spectacular snake, the king purrs, admiring my friend. Euchre's color shifts uncontrollably, the way it does when he is afraid. I've never seen one like him. I vault down, launching myself at Megu. The guards quickly protect him, and I swing my chain at them, aiming at their blocky knees and ankles. While they fall, I raise my dagger, about to send it flying at Megua's heart. I never get to throw it. To my horror, 2 black wings form a shield in front of the king. Hakusa alights on the deck. I jab at his throat, but he grabs my chain and chokes the dagger out of my hand. He flips it neatly in his grasp, pointing it at my throat. Defeated again. So much fire, Mega says, seating himself on his throne. You're sturdier than you look, girl. Very different from the fragile creature that is your sister. He leans back against a surfeit of silk cushions. You'll do for now. I spit in his face. With a laugh, Mega wipes his cheek with a silk scarf, which he then stuffs into my mouth. I try to bite down on his thick fingers, but I barely taste the metal of his rings before his hand is back at the platter of longans beside his cushioned throne. The guards pull me by the arms. Something in my shoulder pops, and I roar with pain. For the second time, Hakusa strikes me in the head. Chapter 14. A splash of cold water jolts me awake. Get up, a guard grumbles, kicking my shins. Under his arm is a wooden bucket. Up. I barely make out his wide nose and dirty knuckles before he tosses the rest of the bucket at my face. A pile of clothes lands at my feet. Get changed, he says before scuttling out of my cell, eager to leave as quickly as possible. Snickers sound outside the door, and I guess that the guards drew sticks to see who'd have to wake me. Cowards. I shiver as the water drips, muddying the dirt under my feet. Dirt. Meaning I'm not on a ship anymore. Sunlight slants through a narrow window, drawing a yellow stripe over my lap. I press my cheek against the window, but I can't see much other than the outline of Mount Hanamania, far in the distance under a mantle of clouds. Mount Hanamania, the cradle of demons. Its shape is that of a dragon's head, jaws snapping at the clouds. The sight is a stab to my gut. I'm in Shalani. Euchre? I call out, but there's no response. Euchre is my best friend, closer to me than anyone, human or snake. On Sundow, he could call for me from one side of the jungle and I would hear him. Surely, if he is anywhere on this island, he must hear me now. He must. Yucker. I yank at my collar. The chain is clipped to a wooden pole in the corner of my cell. The metal gnaws at my palms, leaving painful indents, but it doesn't budge. I crumple onto the cot behind me, flea-bitten and stained with smears of old blood. I don't want to wear Megua's clothes, but mine are drenched. Curiously, they don't look like prisoner's garb. I've been given a long silk tunic decorated with purple hibiscus flowers and artfully painted leaves. There's a matching skirt, a sash, and a new mask, too. I dress quickly, but rather than tie on the sash, I hide it under my sleeve. I'd use my own hair to strangle the guards if I could. Thoughtful, but careless of Mega to provide me with a weapon. Lastly, I pick up the mask. It's heavier than what I'm used to. The wood is thicker and is painted the color of flesh, with fat red lips and eyelids shaded a lurid purple. Megua's color. I feel sick just looking at it, and I hurl it into the corner. It hits the wall, and on the other side, footsteps clomp. The guards are back. It's the captain this time, judging from the gold trim along his vest. He's bullier than the boy they sent earlier, and he's got an impressive ivory-hilted sword on his hip. When he sees me, he laughs. Never seen a snake in a dress before, he says. Behind my back, I start unrolling the sash from my wrist. I won't need much of it to strangle his thick neck, but I'll need to be swift. Get over here. You've been invited to dinner with the king and queen. Now that's unexpected. I'd ask why, but I have other business. I launch myself at the captain, looping my purple sash around his neck. Unfortunately, the man has good reflexes. His hand goes to his sword the instant I pounce, and he slices my sash into ribbons. I get a kick in the ribs and stifle a yelp. Careful, he says. He points his sword at my chin, the blade scraping into the hard ridges of my scales. The king doesn't oft have a taste for snake meat, but he might make an exception for your little pet. A brittle understanding dawns on me. Where is Yucker? I demand. He's been put away for safekeeping. The captain smirks. You'll get him back, if you're good. I stop listening. Yucker. I cry out. Yucker, my friend. Where are you? Still no answer. My stomach burns. No wonder they didn't bother tying my wrists or binding my ankles. There's no need. As long as Yucker is Megua's prisoner, I won't leave. The captain unclips my chain, and my shoulders drop from suddenly losing the extra weight. His smirk grows. Put on your mask, or you'll scare the serving girls. I obey, but as he wraps a scrap of the sash over my eyes, I imagine the ways I could wipe that smile off his face. All end with me breaking his jaw. I'm led through a labyrinth of passageways, blindfolded. I try to count my steps and remember things like how the smoke of smoldering banana leaves stings my nostrils before we make a sharp right, or how the dirt under my bare feet becomes smooth sanded wood, then grass, then paved stone. But it's a long walk, and it's hard to remember what you cannot see in a land where you've never been. The captain doesn't warn me when there are stairs or rocks, and he laughs every time I stumble. I'm too focused on my escape to care. Only in nightmares have I imagined that my first steps away from home would be in Shilani. The wind becomes cool and crisp, hearkening the arrival of dusk. Soon, the light seeping through my blindfold turns gray like ash. At last I hear the sound of dulcimer and bells. The music swells as I approach, joined by the buzz of male chatter. I'm pushed onto a flat cushion, my blindfold is removed, and I find myself in the heart of King Megua's royal dining chambers, sitting next to Haksu. Chapter 15. I see you got the new mask, he slurs. Like it? The dragon has had too much to drink. I count 5 empty cups stacked by his wine jug and a thicket of metal goblets behind them. Not feeling sociable, are we? He says. A trail of milky palm wine dribbles down his chin, staining his vest, which is ripped and too small. His black hair has been tamed and braided, but his claws remain sharp, untrimmed. It takes him 2 tries before he can pick up a cup. Well, cheers. He thrusts it at me, and my reflection glares back from the goblet. I quickly look away. My new mask makes me look like a theater dancer. Round dull eyes with thickly drawn brows and lashes, a fixed red grin. I despise it. I tuck my legs beneath the table. Haksu and I are seated in a corner, and his wings take up 6 seats instead of 1. I'm glad for it, since it spaces us out from the glittering crush of courtiers. Megua's court. I can smell the lacquer on their fans, the oil in their slick hair. This is my 9th hell. I clench the edge of my silk-covered chair, trying to keep my emotions from betraying my hand. Here, I'm not Channy of the jungle or Channy of Ada's house anymore. I'm a different Channy, an imprisoned, hostage Channy, wearing a mask that isn't hers. I feel clumsy and out of place, and stupid, oh so stupid, for sitting still and playing Megua's game. What can I do? Drink, mumbles Haksu, thumping a metal goblet in front of me. The wine's good. Strong. I don't want to drink. I want to scream and hold a knife to Megua's jowls until he tells me where Yucker is. But I can't even do that. The king isn't here. His chair is empty, as is the queen's beside it. So I'll start with Haksu. Are you aiming to pass out before the night begins? I remark. It won't be half as fun for me to slit your throat if you're unconscious. Haksu wipes his mouth with the back of his hand. So violent, Channy. I can see we're going to be good friends. Do not call me Channy. There are no knives at our table, so I reach for the wooden spoon on my right. I wonder how much damage I can do with it before Haksu breaks my arm, like he broke the guards on the ship. He's not wearing a collar. No chains either. He reaches for the jug of wine to pour himself yet a new cup, and I surreptitiously observe him make the slightest flinch when he extends his left shoulder. Maybe a strain from our fight, maybe from the guards. Hope you're hungry, says Haksu pleasantly. Food's almost here. I'm not eating Megua's food. Yes, you will. You'll eat to get your strength. He belches, and my glare turns deadly. Snakes and dragons hate being hungry more than anything. And you smell hungry. I don't smell like anything. You smell like poison, Haksu says, which makes me go still. Oh, you didn't think I noticed? I might not have a long tongue like your friend to sense smells, but I stab my spoon into the fleshy part of his forearm, digging into muscle, then bone. Where is Yucker? I growl. Haksu makes a show of setting his cup down and, using his free hand, adjusting his sleeve so the spikes on his elbows don't tear the cloth. You should have listened to me on the ship, he says silently. Now if you want your friend back, you're going to have to play Megua's game. Before I can ask what he means, a gong is struck. The air swims with its resonance, and under the veil of fading chatter, Haksu twists my hand off his arm. He catches the spoon before it falls and places it squarely on his side of the table. This isn't over, I hiss at him. If you ever get in my head, Aga, look up. King Mega has arrived. His headdress, purple and gold and wide as a peacock's tail, bobs across the room. I crane my neck for a better look, but Haksa grabs my chain, making me fall back onto my cushion. Don't do anything stupid, he says harshly. I don't have to. Megu himself stops at my seat, and his guards pluck me up by my chain, raising their swords to my chin. For many years now, declares Megu, I've gone to Sundao to visit a rare and beautiful creature, born of the sun. The Golden One. He pauses poetically. I'd hoped to bring that girl back to Shinlani, so her beauty might grace our kingdom. But I returned with something even better, her sister. He leans close, dropping his voice to heighten the drama. Behold the secret horror of Sundao, hidden for years behind the blazing light of the Golden One. A warrior as hideous as her sister is beautiful. He pulls off my mask. Shinari, the Lady Serpent of Tambu. A hush falls over the court, and even the musicians go silent. I raise my chin defiantly, though inside I'm burning with anger, with humiliation. No one can look away from me, and I know they're all wondering the same thing. What is she? I don't care anymore about the swords at my chin. I lunge at Megu. To be fair, I didn't have a chance. 2 days without food has weakened me, and these guards are the king's best. The captain I tried to strangle earlier is here, and in a blink, his whip is lashing out at me. My body hits the floor. I do not scream, even as the lash bites into my skin again and again. Witness her ferocity, King Mega says, clapping slowly. When I first encountered her, I thought to add her to the royal menagerie, but no, she's a fighter. Tomorrow, my friends, we will see this serpent lady in the arena. At that, the nobles burst into applause, drowning out what Mega says next. It could be a death sentence, for all I care. Strike me again, I think. One more lash, and my skin will break, and it will be the guards who will scream. That is enough, purrs a new voice. The gong is struck a second time as a beautiful woman appears. The queen, flanked by 2 female guards. Servants wave giant feathered fans to cool the air for her, and a chill creeps down my nape. The queen's walk is like lilies floating across a pond, so fluid I can't tell one step from the other. As she passes me, a cloud of perfume assails my nostrils. It's floral, with hints of orange and musk, but there's a note of something that doesn't belong. Something acrid and gray. Something I've smelled before. Before I can place it, my eyelids grow heavy. A sudden lethargy washes over me. My vision blurs, and I can barely make out this woman, supposedly with the heart and face of Sudano. Did you rest well, my queen? Megu asks, his voice larded with affection. Well enough. Won't you let our guest enjoy her dinner? That voice. Low and smooth like the blow of a conch shell. Something about it is familiar, etched deep into my memory. I squint to see the queen, but she is a haze of candlelight and gold. Odd, everywhere else I look is clear. Mega kicks me with a slippered foot. Get up. The giant moonstone swings against his belly as he speaks. I imagine forcing it down his gullet and strangling him until he turns as purple as his scarf. The music resumes. A dancer dressed as a tiger entertains the nobles on the other side of the table, her magnificent pelt glistening under the candlelight. Two other dancers surround her, a princess and a soldier. They must be reenacting a Shalani tale that I don't know. I try to catch scraps of the story, but dinner has arrived. Tall pyramids of saffron rice, capped with folded banana leaves, appear on the table, followed by porcelain platters of skewered meats perfumed with coconut, and copper bowls of shrimp and fish curries so fragrant my nostrils tingle with pleasure. Too bad I've lost my appetite. My back and my ribs are still burning, making it hard to breathe. I can't even sit up straight without wincing. In that small way, even though I'll be fine in the morning, Nega has won, and I hate it. The nobles make a game out of throwing peanuts at me, not stopping even when Hoxa glares at them. The dragon, curse him, pushes my plate toward me. Leave me alone, I rasp. You're no friend of mine. You need to eat. You're fighting tomorrow. Is that what you're to Megu? One of his prize fighters. Hoxa doesn't reply. Maybe he isn't as drunk as I thought. I saw the guards beat you on the ship, I mutter. Was that for show? Why bother letting me win in Puntalo if you were just going to hand me to Mega? I told you I'd help you, but you didn't listen. He reaches for my arm. Listen to me now. We need to treat your back. I twist away. I'm fine. Don't scream. It's all the warning he gives before he lifts his wing, using it as a screen so no one sees, and pours his cup of wine down my back. The pain is dazzling, and I jerk up, knees hitting the table. He holds me down. Best not to get an infection before the fight, he explains belatedly. Trust me, I've seen it. Next, he blots my skin with a napkin. For someone who's tried to kill me more than once, he's surprisingly gentle. I've seen his claws. He's taking great care not to hurt me, and I can barely feel his fingers brush against my skin. All done, he says, lifting his wing. You'll thank me tomorrow. I'm breathing hard. My wounds are burning from the wine, but it's the sort of heat that I know is good for me. I'd never admit it, though. I'll be out of here before tomorrow. Famous last words. Hoxa raises an inked arm, nods at the neat rows of script that swathe his scaled hide. Every line is the name of someone I've killed in the arena. There have to be well over 100 names, but I betray neither fear nor awe. Mega carved them into your arm, I state. It's not a question. What are the words in red? The names of demons. My interest spikes. There are demons in the arena? But demons can't be killed, eat first. Hoxa dives into the platter the servants left for us. I reach for a skewer, but I don't bite. It's not poisoned, he says, amused by my hesitation. You should be hungry. It's not poison I'm worried about. I pick through the dishes in front of us and look at what the others are eating. Chicken, not snake. Spinach and cassava leaves, not snake. Not yucca. Finally, I bite into a drumstick. The chicken is moist, still hot, so I suck in a puff of air. As I chew, the spices linger on my tongue, whetting my hunger. Slowly, my appetite returns, but I refuse to look like I'm enjoying myself. I refuse to omegu anything. But to Hoxu I mutter, so low I hope he doesn't hear, thank you. His ear perks, and a corner of his mouth tugs upward. He heard. I eat and eat, filling myself with strength. I am on my third bowl of rice when the nobles suddenly stop throwing peanuts, and the dancers fall into a deep bow. Queen Assyria has risen from her seat. Strange how I'd forgotten about her until now. She moves like a shadow, gliding elegantly to where the dancers performed. Something about her eyes arrests me. I've never seen eyes like them on a human before. They are ancient like old gold, like the heart of a flame, like the queen swivels her head, catching me neatly in her snare. She smiles. That same lethargy washes over me again. Quickly, before it's too late, I splash wine over my face. And breathe. I breathe again. No one else seems to notice. Not the servants, not King Megu, I'd wager not even Haksu. I'm trembling all over, and I throw a glance at the dragon. Gold flecks shimmer in his pupils. They weren't there a moment ago, but he's not the only one. Everyone's eyes shimmer as if clouded over with a glittering haze. Golden dust swirls across the chamber, but Megu and his nobles eat as if nothing has happened. The musicians keep playing, and the horn makes the same peaceful drone as before. What do I do? If Euchre were here, he'd tell me not to be so human and impulsive. He'd tell me to calm down and think through my next step. But Euchre is not here, which makes me angry as well as human and impulsive. And dead certain this is not a mistake. I shoot up, charging at the queen. I get close enough to see my reflection in the black pearls dangling at her earlobes, in the lariat of opals and rubies hanging from her neck, and in those blazingly familiar pupils. Then I'm intercepted. One of her bodyguards grabs my wrist. Her skin is unnaturally cold. Damp, too, like a corpse. I'm thrown, and I hear my spine thud against stone. The bodyguard cocks her head at me when I grunt. She sounds disappointed that I didn't break. She's about to throw me again when Haksu arrives, his eyes still spangled with gold. Using his wings, he bats the bodyguard aside and plucks me up with one claw. He pins me against the wall, and I brace myself. My ribs are bruised, my back is swollen, I've had no time to heal. I'm not in any shape to fight. To my surprise, he pulls his punch. He holds me against the wall, his wings blocking everyone's view as his fist knocks into stone instead of my bones. I look up at him confused. Haksu, I say. What are you? He leans forward, so close that our breaths mingle. I can see the silvery lines between his scales and the cuts on his pink-gray lips. I can smell the sweat on his brow. Never attack the queen, he says. Then he lets me drop. The nobles are on their feet, calling for me to be lashed again. Their mouths are half full, and food flies everywhere. It's disgusting, but I can't stop watching. Their eyes no longer glow. Neither do Queen Assyria's. In my delirium, I almost wonder if I imagined it all. Almost. Nega rushes to the queen's side. Are you hurt, my dove? No, no. Assyria bestows on her husband a winsome laugh. I'm amused. By the snake. Nega peers down at me, pinned to the wall. A fierce little thing, isn't she? Assyria's shoulders shake with mirth, and though I keep my eyes resolutely lowered, I feel her gaze on me. You've done well to bring her here. But where is the sister? A pause. The pretty one. The pretty one. 3 words that overturn my world. Only one person has ever described my sister as such. The words in my mind over and over, drowning out the excuse that Megu is making about Vanna. My stomach pinches and the color drains from my face, making me cold. You look unwell, Shinari, says the queen. When did she get so close? She rests her hand on mine. Her nails are sharp and press against my wrist bone. It must be difficult for you to be so far from your sister. I've heard you two are close. I don't move. Am I the only one who can see through her? Everyone here adores her, even the servants. I imagine she is the one who pleads with Mega not to beat them, who sees to it that they are bandaged and taken care of while she whispers sweet poison into the king's ear. Hoxu is right. It is the queen who rules Shinlani. She instructs the servants to bring me water. Come, sit with me. Won't you reconsider my generosity? No wonder Queen Ashiria is often compared to Sudano. To everyone in the room, it sounds like an invitation to peacefully rejoin dinner. But I know better. I'll never betray Vanna. Never. Her smile fades, and she clucks her tongue dramatically as if my vehemence has stung her. I could laugh at the absurdity of it, but the way everyone moves to defend Ashiria is a sour taste of her power. The guards circle me. Escort her to her room, Ashiria says, pretending to sound troubled. The poor thing has had too much to eat. She'll need rest before the fight tomorrow. The smell of her sharpens in my nostrils, and I am brought back to that fateful day in the jungle. As I am led away, I become sure that Queen Ashiria is a demon, and not just any demon. She is Angma. Chapter 16. I cannot sleep. Every time I close my eyes, I think of Angma, barely 1,000 steps away, deceiving the entirety of Shinlani under the guise of its beloved queen. No wonder I could never find her. Euchre was right. All this time, she wasn't even on Sundow. I'm tense all over, every muscle in my body gone stiff. Euchre. I try calling out. Never an answer, no matter how far I stretch my thoughts. But he is alive somewhere. I'd know if he weren't. Digging is hopeless. Kicking the walls and the door only rattles my neighbors, who don't need much encouragement to hate me. Hope you're ready to die, snake hag, they jeer. No girls ever survive the bowmaker. I ignore the taunts. After a while, I give up trying to escape. I count the mice and listen to the other prisoners snore. There's no point in running away. The person I need to kill is here. A lone stripe of moonlight illuminates my cell, and Mount Hanumanya's fearsome silhouette fills my view. I try for the 100th time. Euchre? Silence. Then go to sleep. I inhale a sharp breath. Not Euchre. Hoxu? I say cautiously. A beat. Go to sleep, he says again. You'll wake the others, and they need their rest. He sounds tired. I wonder how long he had to stay at the dinner after I left. I wonder why he is here, sleeping in a dirty cell, when he is Megua's great champion. The queen, I say. You said she's the real ruler of Shinlani. Did you know what were you thinking, attacking the queen? He asks brusquely, cutting me off. If you want to live, stay away from her. Now go to sleep. What do you know about her? Go to sleep. He severs our connection, and I let out a frustrated grunt. I lie down. Anger winds itself around my chest, constricting each breath. But the dragon has a point. I need rest to heal my injuries. I need rest to face tomorrow. I close my eyes. A fierce little thing, isn't she? Angma had said. Tomorrow, I will show her just how fierce I can be. Gotta help me. I will burn this whole island down if I must. I am not alone when I wake. Two young servants hover over my body. They're so close I can smell beetle leaves on their breath, the sandalwood oil on their skin. A brush tickles the side of my neck, cool and wet as it traces up my cheekbones. They're painting me. What are you doing? I try to bolt up, forgetting the chains that shackle me. I snarl and punch and kick, but the servants are braver than most. Probably having been instructed upon pain of death to ignore my struggles, the girl avoids looking at my face and concentrates on her work, and the boy glances nervously behind him at the guards supervising this spectacle. Iron cuffs lock my ankles together, so I prop myself up on my elbows. The servants changed me into a garish costume while I was sleeping. Around my arms are vines fresh from the rainforest, and there are wooden beads in my hair, which has been plaited and coiled above my temples. As a finishing touch, I've been fitted with a headdress inlaid with gilded serpents. There, says the girl, sweeping a cold stroke over my shoulder. The paintbrush is damp with bright yellow ink, and I can only imagine what horror she's made of me. Finished. I glance down. Stripes. Of all the ways she could have vandalized my skin, she's painted tiger stripes on my arms. Desperately, I try to rub the paint off, but the prison guards yank my chains until my arms fall to my sides. The boy holds up a wooden box and opens the lid. A present from Queen Assyria for your first fight. It's another mask. I don't know what happened to the one Mega gave me yesterday, but this one looks like it was made with far greater care. The surface is smooth and shiny, the edges covered with rich ruby snakeskin. Its touch makes my skin crawl. What is this? I demand. Your battle attire, replies a new voice. It belongs to Queen Assyria herself. A servant hastily unrolls a carpet so that she need not soil her feet with the filth of my cell. I take her in, from her violet satin slippers to the cocoon of silk draped over her shoulders. She looks so fragile as a human, with her middle-aged skin and the fine lines fanning around her eyes. One would hardly imagine a tiger underneath. At the incline of her chin, the servants know to leave. My Shinari, says Assyria. How beautiful you've become. The words are meant to disarm me, and I hate that they do. I know who you are. Do you now? Then you know it is rude to refuse a gift from your queen. You are not my queen, I see. You are Angma. Her lips curve into a gentle smile. Careful, Shinari. I have cut out tongues for lesser slights. Be grateful I am compassionate. I try to grab her neck, but Queen Assyria's eyes become two golden yolks. Her black hair billows out of her headdress, lifted by an invisible wind as it turns bone white, and her perfect teeth grow into fangs. At last, the tiger I've been searching for. The glimpse of her true self is so startling, so riveting, that I don't remember to look away until it's too late. Her haze bores into me, glassy pupils fixated on my own. How they shimmer like the ridges of a gold coin in the summer light. I can no longer move. Angma. I curse inwardly. My hands won't curl into fists, and I cannot strangle the demon witch with anything else. How? She tilts her head, the dangling pearls on her headdress pinging. I take it you haven't heard the tale. It is quite popular in Shilani, if not as famous as the story of your sister's birth. Princess Assyria was once considered the future of her kingdom, so bright and charming and kind that her father rewrote the law and made her a woman, his successor. Now, a terrible tiger had been ravaging Shilani, killing children and young innocents. The king worried for his precious daughter's safety and promised that any man who could capture this tiger, with eyes like gold, would marry the princess and one day become king. The hairs on the back of my neck bristle. This is a story she's told countless times, a story that has been embraced by the court and transcribed into song and dance. I remember the dancer with the tiger's pelt. Why did I not pay more attention during dinner? Angma continues with the tale. So it happened that one day a poor soldier came across this tiger in the jungle. This tiger with eyes like gold. Her smile grows. He captured it and brought it to the king, who made good on his word and had Princess Assyria wed the soldier. Sadly, the king perished soon after, and Assyria, now the queen, began to suffer dreams that it was the tiger who'd caused her father's death. To make amends, she freed it from its cage. But the creature turned on her. Angma tilts her head. Assyria screamed for her soldier husband, who came and killed the tiger. She licked her lips. As she rushed into his arms, grateful to have been saved, she buried her face in his shoulder. He never saw how her eyes had changed, gold, like the tiger's. You, I realize in horror. You were the tiger. You killed the king and then Assyria. You stole her body and became a queen. Angma finishes for me. All these years, I'd thought Angma was hiding because she was weak. How wrong I was. She'd been biding her time, squirreling her strength and resources. How about your story, Shinari? Angma whispers into my ear. She inhales, taking in the scent of my blood. You haven't changed. Still as venomous as ever. Why not kill me? I ask. If you've been here this whole time, why wait until now? Oh, Shinari, Shinari, says Angma, cupping my cheek. Her palm is warm and smooth. I'd never planned to kill you. Just your sister. Your sweet, beautiful little sister. My blood thrums in my ears, but no matter how I struggle, I cannot move. You've never told Vanna about the bargain I offered you, have you? She says. You're afraid of what she'd say. Afraid that she'd tell you, in her selfless way, to sacrifice her and break your curse. What is Angma getting at? It's my choice, not hers. A laugh rasps out of Angma. Ever the good older sister. What do you want with her anyway? For 17 years, I've wondered. Why can't you let her go? You made a promise to your mother to protect your sister, but at what cost? You don't deserve this punishment, Chani. Give your sister to me, and you will have the face you were meant to have. You will be human again. She pauses with intent. You will look like your mother again. You will look like your mother again. How can she know just the words that will destroy me? I grind my teeth, trying to tamp down my surge of emotions. The memories. Sometimes, when I'm feeling brave and stare in the mirror, when I'm able to look past the band of yellow around my pupils, I imagine I see Mama's eyes in my own, the way I used to, before I was cursed. I imagine I've inherited her honest nose and mouth, and I've become that beautiful moon-faced girl she used to call me. What I would give to see Mama again, to look like her again. Angma knows I'm cornered. Her voice goes tender. It only takes one word, Channy. One word, and you'll have the face you were meant to have. Your Mama's eyes. It stuns me how much I want that. I would give anything for that. Anything but Vanna. You will never have my sister, I whisper. Never. Angma's face shimmers, veins turning gold. There is darkness in you, Shinari. Beautiful, beautiful darkness. Did you think, after I left my mark on you, that I wouldn't see behind your secrets? I heard you every time you came to the rock where I cursed you. Every time you begged for me to take your sister away, I would never. And give you the face you should have had. Enough. I shout. You lie. If I've gone to the rock, it's to summon you back, to kill you. Angma is smiling as if she's already won. In a way, she has. I'm shaken, my thoughts rattling. She backs into the sunlight fanning through the window, and her hair turns black once more. Her fangs are gone, and her eyes are a clear, warm brown. She ties my mask behind my head and tightens the string. You'll need a name. What is it they call you in the jungle? Ah, yes, Lady Green Snake. I flinch that she should know. The nestlings gave me the name years ago, thinking I was a big snake. It's stuck ever since, and even grown on me. But on Angma's lips it sounds like a mockery. Lady Green Snake, she muses. It doesn't quite have that ring that we need, but I've another idea. She touches the streak of white in my hair. I've heard that the Serpent King never named an heir. How tragic. I've always thought it should be you, Channy. We shall announce you as the Serpent Queen. I balk. I'm not the queen. Angma leans close, cutting me off with a whisper. Neither am I. That silences me, and she claps for her bodyguards. Take her out. The women lurch to life. They're the same two that flanked Angma yesterday, the ones with cloudy, ashen eyes and lips so pursed they might as well be sewn shut. Their hands are as cold as snakeskin, despite the heat rising in the air, and they jerk me to my feet, dragging me out the cell door by my arms. I'll see you outside, says Angma with a wave. I don't struggle anymore. I figure if I'm expected to fight in the arena, Angma will either have to unlock my chains or give me a weapon. I am too valuable to go into combat empty-handed. Once I am armed, I will slay the demon witch, even if it costs me my life. Chapter 17. Drums pound the instant I step out into Bonemaker's arena. It's very dramatic, as is the retinue of guards escorting me. I can't tell if that's symbolic of how dangerous I am or if it's all for show. The whole capital must be here. Thousands spectate from wooden benches under wide palms, ringed by an iron fence to protect them from the fighters. Tamba has a long tradition of champions dueling for honor, but never for sport. This place is an atrocity. I'm dragged forward. More than once, something cracks under my sandals. Fragments of sun-bleached bones and skulls protrude from the earth, buried under scattered weeds. Beyond the arena's fence is a high wall of sea cliffs, jutting out like stone teeth. There's nowhere to run. Megu and Ashiria are finishing their public prayers, And though I can't fathom what god would listen to the demon which, without striking her down, her somber countenance fools the crowds easily. To them, she is the most pious of queens. The drums roll and the crowd cheers as she ascends a winding staircase to the gilded pavilion she shares with Megu. Our brave queen, they shout in adulation. This is an island of idiots, I decide. Then again, are they so different from the fools who worship my sister? One of the guards holds up a bronze key and unlocks my collar. As the chain falls, I catch it in one hand. I could easily take down the guards, but then what? Angma sits high above the arena, with a line of archers behind her. Each has drawn their bow, with an arrow pointed at my head. Her Majesty is merciful, the guard says when I drop the chain. She wishes me to tell you that if at any time you wish to yield, she will listen. I spit on the ground. I will never yield. Then die well, Lady Snake. The guards depart, leaving me alone in the arena. Cursing at my predicament, I face the spectators. They're chanting to see my face, and I get the impression it's rare that a female lasts long in the arena. Who am I to fight? Dragon Prince. Dragon Prince. The crowd chants. Megu wouldn't throw me into a death match against Haksu, would he? He's the king of Shinlani. He can do whatever he wants. King Mega rises from his seat and spreads his arms wide. I hear your cries, he shouts. Battles within Bonemaker's arena are to the death. Our Serpent Queen is new to Shinlani. There is plenty of time to pit her against the Dragon Prince. He clasps his hands, and as a cloud eclipses the sun, his eyes become speckled with gold, with Angma's magic. My blood turns cold. Colder still when the captain of the guard passes him a lidded basket. Mega raises the basket high for all to see. Whatever is inside shakes and hisses. Now, Serpent Queen, the rules are simple. Fight to survive. Win to save the life of your friend. Yucker, I breathe. At last I feel his touch on my mind. It's faint. Channy, he rasps weakly. The menagerie. The frailty of his voice guts me. Yucker never sounds weak. Never. No wonder he couldn't call to me earlier. I'm coming, I swear to him. I'll save you. The captain takes the basket and disappears behind the line of archers. To the menagerie, as Yucker said. I follow him with my eyes as long as I can. The drums are getting faster and louder. The arena gate growls open. I'm tossed a spear. I expected the weapons they provided to be crude, like the fighting sticks and short lances I fashioned back home. But this spear has been crafted by a master. Its weight feels natural in my hand and instantly becomes an extension of my arm. Though the shaft is worn, black paint crusting off the smooth ash wood, the blade is sharp on its twin edges. Shiny, which tells me plenty. Either the weapon's new or it's been wielded only by losers. I'm guessing the latter. I hold the spear upright, as keen as the spectators around me to know who I'll be fighting. Or what? A cold draft tickles my ankles, so slight I don't notice its ill portent. Until a furred tail whips out of the shadows. It's thick as a wolf's. Then, as my opponent rotates into view, come the horns. Horns positioned to tear my bones from my body. A bear's head pierces the darkness, but obviously it is no ordinary bear. It has curved fangs and 3 glittering red eyes, a demon. The crowds roar with approval. The demon prowls, restrained by a long chain. From the neck down, it has the spotted body of a leopard, with thick, muscular legs and horse hooves for feet. It reeks of rotting flesh, and even from this distance, I suck in my breath. I don't even get a chance to prepare. In one leap, it's halfway across the arena. I barely scrape away in time. My instincts are on full alert. The demon snaps at my legs, and I counter with my spear, but the creature is too fast. It meets my weapon with its horns and rams me backward. The soles of my sandals burn as they skate across the dirt. My back crashes down onto the ground with a crack. Fight! Fight! The crowd shouts. Fight! The demon's chains rattle, the only warning before it charges again. I duck this time, sliding underneath it and plunging my spear up through the soft flesh of its neck. The demon lets out a high-pitched shriek, and I crawl onto my knees, expectant of victory. But the crowd's not cheering. They're laughing. Are they the idiots, or am I? The demon rears. Worms and beetles and smoke pour out of the hole I've made in its neck, but the beast isn't dying. Using its claws, it pinches the shaft of my spear and slides the weapon out. The wet sound makes my stomach churn. New, hideous flesh forms over the wound, and the demon raises my spear while releasing an earth-shattering battle cry. I've made it angry. I utter every foul word and curse I know and run for the gate, banging my fists against the iron barricade. The guards think I'm trying to escape and jab at me with the ends of their swords. Get back inside. Fight, coward. I ignore them, narrowly avoiding their blades as I try to climb the gate. In the distance, Mega yells a command to the archers. Arrows fly, several landing perilously close to my head. The warning is clear. If I don't fight, I die. But if I fight, I die anyway. I hang on the gate, taking these seconds of reprieve to think. Only magic can kill a demon, and I've no charms, no weapons of enchantment. How do I defeat an opponent that is immortal? With my blood. It's my last resort. It won't kill the demon, but it'll certainly stun it. I glance over my shoulder, wondering why the creature hasn't come after me yet. People are throwing rocks at it, and my chest goes tight. Instead of chasing me, the demon picks at its chain with my spear. Its hooves and claws don't have the dexterity to wield the weapon, and it keeps dropping the spear before it reaches the linked iron. Watching the demon, I feel my terror cool into something unexpected. Compassion. I've battled my share of demons back on Sundow. I picked a fight with everyone I saw. Let them be, Yucker would say. Not every demon is Angma's ally. They're not dangerous if you leave them alone. Sadly, that isn't an option here. My decision's made, and I pinch my nails into my arm. Pain ripples in a white-hot flash, and I wince as my flesh opens, blood gushing warm against my skin. With one quick sweep, I coat my hands and drop back into the arena. Hoots and jeers from the crowd alert the demon to my return, and it swivels, rising onto its hind legs. It charges, razor-sharp horns aimed at my guts. My imagination races forward in time to my future as a carcass swinging from those horns. I grab a handful of stones and old bones, priming them with poison, then hurl them at the demon. A stone strikes the demon in the shoulder. The next one gets it in the eye. The effect is immediate. The creature seizes in pain, and I leap onto its back, grabbing my spear. Work with me, I speak into its ear. We are both captives. Together, we can be free. Its red eyes roll all the way back, meeting mine. I cannot read what it's thinking at all. Work with me, I repeat. I lift my spear just a little. My poison loses potency as my blood dries, and under Shenlani's wrathful sun, the stains I've left on the demon's fur are already crusty. Which means, unless my gamble pays off, I'm going to end up a giant smear of red on the arena grounds. I will free you, I promise, if you will help me kill the queen and take me to Yukur. Not the queen, insists the demon in my mind. She is too strong. Take the king instead. But the king. There's no time to argue. I have your promise? Immortals are bound to their promises, and the demon plucks a near-invisible red string from behind my neck with a single claw and loops it around our hands. A piece of my soul to seal the oath. With that, the deal is struck, and all that's left is to make my victory look convincing. I twirl my spear and stab its blade between the demon's eyes. The demon gurgles, foam rippling from its mouth. Its legs collapse underneath me, and hooves skid as the rest of it falls. I catch my breath, keeping to the fence's shadow and out of the blistering sun. Sweat stings the cuts on my skin, and my clothes cling to me, slick with mucus and blood. I've won. I shout, raising my spear in triumph while the crowd cheers. Then, as fast as I can, I act. From afar, it'll look like I'm impaling the demon by the throat. But really, I'm hacking at its collar. With all my strength, I stab. Worms and smoke peel out of the demon's neck, and I mutter a silent apology to it before I apply more brutal force. At last, the chain breaks. Onto my back utters the demon, whose wounds are already healing. Quickly. I don't waste a second, and together we leap high, bounding across the arena. Negu is shouting, the spectators are fleeing. Chaos is in bloom, and the demon loves it. I ready my spear as we charge toward the gilded pavilion. For a fraction of a second I aim at Angma, not the king. But the demon is right. I have a chance to slay an enemy. I must not waste it on the one that cannot be killed by sword or spear. One chance, one throw. As we draw closer, I think of the story Angma told me, of the soldier who won Ashiria's love. That soldier was Megu. I wonder what he was like, if he was cruel to begin with, or if his years living with a demon warped him into the monster he is. But I don't wonder too long. I launch my weapon into the air. Loaded with years of hatred, it flies straight and true and pierces Megu in the heart. Just like I've dreamed for years, he stumbles, already white with shock. Time breaks, and every memory I have of Mega comes flooding back. The young elephant, the vipers, all the creatures he's ever killed and tortured, avenged. All the terror he's brought into my sister's life and mine, avenged. My only regret is that his agony will be quick, but I am a smart hunter, not an indulgent one. Dead is dead. My spear juts out of his chest, and death claims him mid-breath. The moonstone around his neck pools red with his blood. He's the first man I've ever killed. Get her. Angma screams. The demon and I don't wait. We leap over the barricades. 100 bowstrings twang to life. The air tenses, and I glance behind my shoulder, expecting to find a wave of arrows arcing after us. But my gaze lands on a hulking blue-green figure ramming past the arena gates. There is gold in Hakusua's eyes as his wings unfold, casting a wide silhouette over the cliffs and stone teeth. For the first time, I am afraid of him. I know without a doubt that he is after us, sent to get revenge. And he will not stop until I am dead. Chapter 18. The Kamala Sea sounds like thunder. Or maybe that's just my heart. As we race away from the arena, the waters thrash against the cliffs, and I hardly breathe until we are bounding over land once more. We make it to the menagerie, and the demon tosses me off its back. The red string around its claw, and my hand dissolves into the air. Without so much as a goodbye, the demon bounds away, and it's gone in 2 blinks. I hurry past the cages, and I can't help but wonder if one was meant for me. I creep past 3 sentries guarding a leopard. It's moaning with hunger, too weak to even flex its jaws. The guards laugh and poke it with a dry stalk of bamboo. There's a piece of meat skewered in the middle of the stick, tauntingly out of reach. I wish I had time to snap their necks. That'll have to wait. Hiding behind the large teak trees shading the menagerie, I sneak beyond the leopard, past the elephants languishing in their mud-baked trench, toward a pit framed by a fence of sago leaves. Inside, I'll find allies. I approach the pit of vipers. Over 100 of them, brilliantly red and green and gold, knotted against each other, writhing. Lady Green Snake. They greet in chorus. Snakes are legendary gossips, and they've heard what I did for their brothers and sisters in Sundow. You have to free us. The pit is deep, the walls glazed with a slippery glass the snakes cannot climb. I snap a branch off the closest tree and lean it against the side so they can slither out. Each thanks me with a quick flick of the tongue. Which way to Euchre? I ask. The snakes tip their heads to the left of the leopards. Towering high above a line of banana trees is a pointed dome painted white as an eagle's scalp. The aviary, respond my friends. He's in the aviary. My nostrils flare. Take care of the guards, I tell them. While the snakes scatter to obey, a lump hardens in my throat. Of course, the aviary. The one place my poor, fearsome euchre will be prey. I follow the sound of screeching birds. The aviary walls are high, latticed with diamond-shaped holes. Sharp beaks pierce through the slats, and I hope I am not too late. Euchre, I shout, racing around a marble pathway to find the entrance. As I turn the bend, the aviary's 2 doors slide open with a snap. My breath, short and quick until now, hitches. So, says a cruel voice, you're still alive. The doors slam shut, but the captain of Megua's guard doesn't advance out into the menagerie. He dangles Euchre by the tail, holding him perilously close to a ravenous-looking hawk pecking through the latticed holes of the aviary walls. My heart ices with fear, with fury. Megu is dead, I say through locked teeth. You will be too if you don't let him go. The captain doesn't flinch at my threat or at the news about his king, but he does glance to the sky, at the dark outline of a dragon fast approaching. The sight makes him sneer. My queen wouldn't like that. Let him go, I hiss. Or what? He dangles Euchre lower. My friend is in no shape for a fight. The spots on his skin are dull, his eyes cloudy. He hisses at the hawk in a desperate attempt to stave off the predator. But his mouth is bound shut. He cannot bite. Yucker, stay very still. I'm going to free you. Let him go, I repeat. My voice goes low, delivering a solemn oath. Or I'll kill you. The captain makes that smirk I hate so much. Then he drops Yucker into the hawk's waiting clutches. No, I lunge, but the captain blocks me with his body, and the hawk pulls Yucker through a hole into the aviary. I rush the captain, but he is faster than he looks. His sword comes out, blazing silver against the white walls, and flashes at my torso. I jump back, mind reeling. Pulse racing. He gloats with his eyes. I swear he is not going to best me. I will not be anyone's trophy. He kicks me against the aviary wall, and the starved birds within stab at my calves before they taste the poison and shrink back. Another swing comes, but this time I lean into the strike, taking the captain by surprise. He didn't expect a girl to take a hit on purpose. His mistake. The impact of the hit is reduced. It still hurts, but I'll end up with barely a bruise. Meanwhile, the captain won't be so lucky. I grab his sword arm. His eyes bulge as I choke the blade out of his hand. It clatters against the stones under our feet. He's mine now. I claw at his face, my fingers digging into the hollows of his cheek. He turns purple, a shade more violent than the rich mulberry of his vest. He grasps for the dagger on his hip, the long blue veins on his arm bulging as he tugs it off his belt. Poor captain, I butt him in the head and break his jaw just like I fantasized. He drops the dagger. His eyes become defiant yet pleading. There's something else too, something I've seen before, only not to such a ferocious degree. Horror. I turn his face away from mine, and my arm hooks around his neck. Part of me knows I'm making up for what I wanted to do to Megu, and that I should stop myself, but I can't. I begin to choke him, squeezing my elbow around his thick, throbbing neck. The muscles in his neck contract and fight. His shoulders seize up, and blood drains from his head, paling his skin bone white. I squeeze harder, harder. His lungs give up the fight, and one last wheeze escapes his body. He falls, heavy with death, and I let myself sink with him. I've just killed a man with my bare hands. But I feel nothing, no tarnish on my soul or conscience, only regret that this is not how I killed King Megu. I toss the captain's corpse aside and grab his sword from the marble path. Then I tear into the aviary. Birds scatter from the trees when I enter, squawking loudly. I snarl at them. They swipe their talons at my flesh and snap their beaks at my fingers. I cannot fight them all with one lone sword, so I let them come. The wild-eyed birds that taste my blood drop lifeless onto the ground. My path is clear, and I brandish my sword at those who still dare approach. Yucker, I shout. Yucker, where are you? I know he's still alive. Yucker, here, rasps Yucker's voice as faint as gauze. Behind the nest. I look up to one of the gnarled trees. The remains of a nest are lodged between two branches, and Yucker is wedged underneath. He's coiled his body, wrapping himself tense and thick as a shell. It is his best defense, but it won't last for long. Gingerly, I ease him out of the tree and lower him into my arms. Then I jump down and race out of the aviary, smashing the door shut behind me. I collapse behind a fountain, cradling my friend. Yucker, yucker. I press a kiss to his forehead. Yucker curves against me. His scales have turned gray. He is in his resting state. His tail is battered, marred with bites and talon marks, and when I remove the band that binds his mouth, his tongue hangs slack. He doesn't even have the strength to greet me, and when I touch my mind to his, I feel only a cold, numbing pain. Rest, I whisper, wrapping him gently around my neck to make sure he's comfortable. Heal. I'm on my feet again, but I've taken too long. A shadow crosses the sun, plummeting toward me. Hux is here. I spring up, charging at him with my sword, but he bats me aside with his wing. He twists the sword from my grasp and throws it into the bushes. I stagger back, bracing myself for another fight. But instead of killing me, as Angma commanded, Hoxa blinks and the gold swirling in his eyes fades. His red eye glitters bright. He says, with a disarming smile, clever, using the demon to help you escape. You've earned my respect, Lady Greensnake. He doesn't even give me a second to be confused. He slings Yucker and me over his shoulder, and we accelerate into the sky. Chapter 19. We shoot high above the Kamala Sea, reaching the clouds in a matter of heartbeats, and as the adrenaline rushes to my head, I learn that I am not fond of heights. Neither is Yucker. He wraps his body around my neck so tight I can hardly breathe. This is good, I suppose, for it prevents me from vomiting over Hoxua's shoulder. I thought you were going to kill me. I shout. Your eyes, they were. If I wanted to kill you, you'd be dead, he says bluntly. No more talking. You're weighing me down enough as it is. Right then, a barrage of arrows blows past us like a swarm of locusts. Left. I scream, slamming my weight into his wings so his body tilts left. Higher. Another wave of arrows clips the underside of the clouds. Hoxu veers upward until we're so high that frost rhymes my nose and the palace looks like a toy, small enough for me to pinch between my fingers. I don't know the extent of Angma's magic, but the darkening sky and gathering winds cannot be a coincidence. We're dragged back down through the clouds, caught in an invisible net. Below, the murky outline of a ship penetrates the mist. Suddenly the ship glows, and its purple sails are illuminated by an orange halo. It's cannon fire. The blasts come fast and relentless. Hoxa swerves. He strains to fly us higher, beyond the cannon's trajectory. But the wind is too strong. We jolt across the sky, jagging across the clouds, until our luck runs out. A cannon blast scrapes the edge of Hoxua's left wing. Smoke explodes everywhere, and I inhale pure sulfur. I can't breathe. Can't see. All I can hear is the pain in Hoxua's roar. He keeps flying. His wing crackles, bits of rubbery flesh singed off. My mind is racing. He can't outlie the ship like this, and when he tires, when he slows down, Angma will take us. She'll tail us until we reach Tyanan if she has to. The only way we'll lose her is by destroying her ship. Fly us closer. It's a ridiculous idea, and the dragon rightfully ignores it, which forces me to act. Reaching over his shoulder, I strain to fold his wings closed. What are you? Shut up. I knee him in the ribs and keep his wings pinned together. As we plunge for the sea, Hoxa begins to understand my plan. Closer, I repeat, loosening my grip on his wings. Above the sails. You're going to get us killed. I pretend not to hear and carefully wrap Yukur around Hoxua's shoulders. I'm going to jump. Take care of Yukur. Before Hoxa can object, I grip the batten and pull myself up into the purple sails. The wind blusters, the fabric sags under my weight, and I fall. I fumble at the sails, trying to grip one of the beams that cuts across the mast. At the last moment, I kick against roiling fabric, and my legs clench together to seize it still. I catch my breath, but unfortunately I've been spotted. Get her. Arrows tear after me, puncturing the sails as I drop down onto the deck. In my periphery, Hoxa circles back, diverting the archer's attention so I can dash across the ship. My target is the brass lanterns hanging from the forecastle. They'll do nicely for what I have in mind. Fog thickens the air, and I can barely see Hoxua's wings. But men are shrieking in every direction. Bodies splash into the sea, and swords clatter against the deck. A useful ally, this dragon. I'm almost at the lantern when two female soldiers slip out of the fog. I've encountered their cloudy eyes and bony shoulders before. Queen Asheria's bodyguards. Where is Angma? I demand. In unison, they blow a shimmery mist from their lips. It dusts my eyelids, soft as a veil. Everything slows. Time is suspended. Maybe if I didn't bear Angma's mark, I would be fooled. But I can see the threads of magic that stitch together her net, and I will not be ensnared. I claw at my face, fighting off the mist. I shake free of it, lunging for the lanterns. Before I can unhook one, a bodyguard seizes my arm. Her grip is strong enough to crush my bones, and as I try to twist away, the mist embraces her. Her skin turns translucent, revealing a horrible clockwork of muscle and vein pulsing under her flesh. Sheets of white hair sprout from her arm, fanning out like wings. Her eyes are no longer cloudy, but black and ravenous, and when she finally shows her teeth, they are serrated and stained with blood. She's a Swayak. Suyaks are former witches. Mosquitoes from hell, Yukur calls them, because they fly like they're jumping, the way a mosquito moves in quick bursts. They also feed on blood. Her nails dig into my arm, and I resist the urge to kick her away. Angma must not have told her servants about me. My blood surfaces onto my skin, bubbling red and burning through her nails. With a shriek, the Swayak drops my arm. Suyaks never travel alone. As her shriek resonates across the sky, another one appears. This time I am ready. I sweep her away with my arm, using the bloodied side. My poison hisses upon contact, searing ashen flesh. While she flails, I yank an arrow from the railing and plunge it into her chest. A gurgled cry strains out of her throat. I throw her overboard, and she disappears into the fog. The other Swayak is still here. She's been watching me, observing. When I spin to face her again, she leaps into the air, simply hanging there. I brace myself, but she doesn't charge. She smiles, mist hissing from her nostrils, Then she melts into the fog like her sister. I have a feeling I'll see them again. Hurry, Shinari, Hoxa shouts. I'm feeling unwelcome at this party. Hurrying, I glance over my shoulder for one of the brass lanterns swinging from the rails. I bend over to unhook one. From behind comes a yank on my hair, then the cold sting of metal on my neck. Angma, holding the spear I threw at King Megu, yield to me. Gone is the low flute of her voice. Her command is a rasp, and though magic glazes her eyes, I still notice that in the short time since I've last seen her, her hair has gone gray, bone-white stripes translucent on her neck and cheeks. Yield, Angma demands. Never. I swing the lantern at her head, and as she staggers, I clap the tip of the spear between my hands. The point bites into my skin, drawing blood, but I don't need blood to end this. That's just to make it hurt. I thrust my knee up, knocking the spear out her grasp. Then I thrust its blunt end into her heart. Her skin goes instantly white, and her pupils turn red, bright as the blood streaming down her queenly robes. Save the queen, guards cry. Hurry! I drop my lantern, and its oil spills over the deck, trailing fire in all directions. Flames roar to life, traveling swiftly across the ship, and a wall rises, separating Angma and me from her soldiers. I kneel beside her. This is the moment I've prepared for, the moment I've trained endlessly for. I will not fail. I press my fingers to her lips, forcing the blood on my skin onto her tongue. I expect her eyes to lose luster, for my poison to take her life quickly. But instead, her flesh starts to peel away under my thumbs, her black hair, her nose, and lips crumbling like dough. Within seconds, she is but brittle bone and ash. Then that too crumbles under my fingers, and I draw back in horror as a white-haired tiger emerges. The transformation is riveting. It begins with the fur, which coats her hands, traveling down her arms and her back as powerful muscles bulge from her limbs and her body swells. With a soft thud, she falls onto all fours. A tail winds out of her rear, and whiskers pierce her cheeks, taut and pearlescent against the ebony black stripes twining across her back. Last come the shadows radiating from her fur. There the night unfolding, a boundless and depthless abyss, and wherever they touch, the waters fall dark. You will give me your strength, she purrs wordlessly. The command spreads across the ship, and 3 of the archers shooting at Hoxa whirl. Their faces go slack as they stride numbly toward Angma. One of them even catches fire on the way, but he doesn't scream. He doesn't even whimper. My strength is yours, my queen, he murmurs before Angma grabs him. In a blink, all that is left of the man is the blood staining her ivory teeth and a scrap of purple sleeve. Ball rises to my throat as she turns on another guard, repeating the gruesome sacrifice to renew her strength. I have to stop this. I grip my spear, the blood still wet on my fingertips. Then I find my rhythm, my courage, and charge. I'm one step, one breath, one strike from impaling her heart when Hoxa cuts in from above and wrenches me into the sky. No, I scream. Let me go. Enough, Chani. It's Yukur. He twists his head over Hoxua's shoulder. What did I tell you about being impulsive? She's too strong. I look down at the ship, but it's already blurred into the fire. My mouth tastes like smoke. I almost had her. You were almost killed. Hoxa corrects me, and you almost got us killed with you. That was selfish. And like the snake said, impulsive. I grit my teeth, replaying my battle with Angma in my head. Though I won't admit it, I know they're right. The wound on my hand is still bleeding, and I rip a piece of my sleeve to wrap it. Hoxu may understand the language of the snakes, but he is not one, and he's not immune to my venom. There are arrows in his wings, and though he doesn't show it, I can tell he's in pain. As the last of the sun melts into the sea, we coast below the moon. Its edges are sharp tonight, and the sky bleeds the precise red of Angma's eyes. Chapter 20. Sometime after dusk, Hoxa stumbles upon a fin-shaped island and drops me onto its beach. The sand is moist, and it feels heavenly against my wind-burned skin. Euchre is already searching for a place to burrow and heal, while Hoxa lies unmoving. I crawl toward him. Hoxu. Hoxu? The dragon doesn't respond. His back is to me, muscles wound tight as he releases a breath. Under the thin moonlight, his blood inks the sand. I reach over to inspect one of his wings. An arrow is lodged in the muscled ridge, practically stitching two of the pleats together. Before he has a chance to object, I pull it out. He jerks away from me with a snarl. You have 7 arrows in your wings, 2 in your back, and another in your thigh, I point out. You want to stay like that? You look like a pincushion. He snarls again, then jolts up before I can get any closer. He's breathing hard, shoulders heaving. His wings won't fold over his back like they did before. They stick out, one crooked and the other sagging. A tear in his right wing is especially bad. I used to make an ointment for Vanna that would help her wounds heal faster, I say, doing my best to mask the worry in my voice. It's dark now, but I'll gather the herbs in the morning. I'll use my spear for now to splint your wing. I don't need some silly girl's herbs and potions. Just help me into the water. An odd request, but he's adamant. I'm tired, and he's heavy, but I manage to drag him to the edge of the sea. I can see the reflection of my hands as I help, and I avert my gaze. This is as close to the sea as I will get. I sit, cross-legged on the sandy bank, as he lowers himself into the water with his elbows. Hoxa doesn't comment on my reluctance to go near the water. So you're not strong enough to lift me, he notes instead, sounding calmer now. I was wondering about that. I could lift you, I retort. I just don't want your sweat all over my clothes. I smell myself and make a face. Gods, I reek. Hoxa wrinkles his nose in agreement. I was worried when they sent that demon out in the arena, he says, after a brief stretch of silence. A bit sloppy with your footwork, but you're fast. And strong. Very strong. He shakes his head like he still can't believe it. Are you enjoying your bath? I say tartly. Very much, he replies. This isn't a bad island for resting a few days. It'll be a while before I can fly again. I shoot up to my feet. Not too long, I hope. My sister's birthday is in 2 days. Hoxa shrugs. So, the demon which is going to kill her. Hoxa cocks his head at the sea. From here, we can still see smoke from Angma's ship. I think your mother, which has other problems right now. Demon witch, I correct. Angma isn't a demon. Yes, she is. No, says Hoxu. She's a witch. The demon in her name's meant to mislead and instill fear. As it has. His red eye glints, and something tells me to trust what he has to say about demons. I dig my nails into the sand. Then how does she wield such power? You saw how she mesmerized the court, how she controlled Megu. I've never heard of a witch with such ability. Hoxus splashes his face with water, rubbing his eyes clean before he finally answers. Your Angma has something that belongs to me. It's given her great power, though not without great inconvenience. He smirks. She can't sustain a human body for long. I'll bet she was fond of Ashiria's, but now that's a pile of dust, thanks to you. She'll be a tiger until she finds a new one. He wrings his long hair dry, and it flares behind him like a flame. That must be why she wants your sister, he says. A younger, fresher body. And soon to be a queen, or so I hear. I ball my hands into fists. That's not going to happen. Once your wings heal, you're taking me to her. Am I now? Shouldn't it be who's in my debt? Hoxua's gaze bores into me. I saved you from Angma. If not for the mess you made, I'd know where my pearl is by now. Your dragon pearl. My eyebrows knit with revelation. You don't have one? That explains much, says Yucker with a sniff. I glare. You're supposed to be resting. All dragons have a pearl, Yucker insists. Unless they've been exiled from the sea and the heavens. Hoxua's red eye glows. Mine was taken from me at birth, split in half and tossed to the far ends of Lorien. Split in half? Yucker shoots out his tongue like an arrow. Impossible. You think I lie? Hoxua's eye flares bright in challenge. No, no. Yucker backs off, his tail curling in. But secretly he and I exchange a look. We are thinking the same thing, that Hoxu is only half dragon and half something else entirely. Are you saying that Angma has part of your pearl? I ask. She found it over a century ago. It fused with her heart and has given her great power. Impossible, says Yucker again. My kin have known Angma for generations since I was born, interrupts Hoxu. Angma isn't nearly as old as stories make her out to be. But she is immortal now, isn't she? I ask. Or is that part of the legend wrong too? Depends on how you look at it. Angma wished to be immortal, and my pearl made her so, but not exactly in the way she envisioned. Hoxus smiles balefully. Seems it has a sense of humor, like me. I shudder, remembering how Angma ate human flesh and blood to regain her strength. If that is the price of immortality, I'd happily pass. Still, a flare of hope rises to my chest. If Hoxu can take his pearl from her, the damage she's wrought with it will be undone. That means Vanna will be safe, and maybe my own curse will be broken. I turn to the dragon. It takes all my restraint to sound indifferent, to act as if he needs me and not the other way around. You've been searching 100 years for your pearl? I remark. That's a long time. Doesn't seem like you've made much progress. Hoxus sends me a glare. I've been searching for 17 years. I slept a century after I was born. I awoke only shortly before my dragon half found its way to Earth. 17 years. I shiver without knowing why. Even so, I say, it sounds like you could use help. How about you take me to my sister, and in exchange, I'll make sure you get your pearl back from Angma. Channy, Yucker hisses. Do not make a deal with a dragon. I kick sand over the snake. Hush. Hoku's reaction gives away his thoughts. For me, a puny human, to ask such a favor is ludicrous. But then his brow creases. He's remembering the potency of my blood. Your blood, he says. It works against her? It worked against Angma as a Shirya, I admit. I don't know what power it will have against Angma as a tiger. Her tiger form is the only one that matters. The others are shells. I know that, but Shinari's blood carries the venom of the last Serpent King. Yucker cuts in, always a busybody, even when he's injured. Not another sovereign has been chosen since he bit her. Her blood is the greatest poison known to Lorien. I am familiar with the magic of sundial serpents, says Hoku, and their poison. Then you know that not even Angma is immune to it. Yucker replies pointedly. He burrows into the sand. And neither are you. A muscle twitches in Hoku's enormous jaw. Seems I've got no choice then. Very well, I'll take you to your sister. I won't be able to fly, but we can charter a boat in the morning, should reach Tyanan in time if we get one. Or, he cocks his head, we could pay the Witch of Yapang a visit. My eyes widen in recognition. The Nine-Eyed Witch? Why so surprised? We've landed on her island. I didn't think she was real. If your Angma exists, why wouldn't she? Hoku laughs at my astonishment. Old Nokri ought to have some disgusting concoction to fix up my wings. He yawns. We can discuss her tomorrow. It's late. Even monsters like us need sleep. It is late. The tide is rising higher, and the sea laps at my toes, cold enough that a shiver loosens down my spine. Buried in the sand, Yucker is already sleeping. Hearing his quiet, steady breathing, I breathe easier too. I could use some rest, but not as much as Hoku. Thank you, by the way, I say, low enough I'm not sure if Hoku will hear. For coming back for me in Shalani. The dragon hears. His tone is gruff, but gentle. You're welcome. With a nod, I head up a sandy dune. Where are you going? He asks. I'll keep watch. For what, crocodiles? They like to stay by the witch. I don't respond. It isn't crocodiles or the nine-eyed witch of Yapang I'm worried about, and Hoku knows it. Stubbornly, I stake a spot on the sloping dune where I can watch for Angma. I don't know how long I stay awake watching the stars blink, bright as Vanna's heart, but there's no sign of Angma or her Suiax. The world is still, with only the distant percussion of the wind in the trees lulling me to sleep. I resist as long as I can. For the first time in years, I allow hope to creep into my heart. Maybe I will break this curse on my face and save my sister. Maybe everything will be fine in the end. I can live the rest of my days with my family the way I've dreamed. With those thoughts to soothe me, the knots in my muscles melt into the sand, and I fall into a sea of dreams. I've had this dream 1,000 times. It begins with the jungle calling for me, but I'm a different Channy. A Channy who waves hello to the other girls in the marketplace, a Channy who's terrified of snakes and spiders and lizards that jump faster than she can run. A Channy who does not heed the jungle's calls because she cannot hear them. My arms are full of star fruits and paper-wrapped rice noodles and fish, and as I come home, Ada takes the basket from me. "Channy," he says, "let me help you with that." The note of tenderness in his voice and the way he looks at me, straight in the eye without flinching, remind me that this is but a dream. I don't care. This is the Ada I've yearned for. This is the life I've craved in secret. I'm happy to linger, even if I know it isn't real. The cakes are almost ready. Your favorites. I follow the smell of coconut cakes into the kitchen. Inside, I find a woman who looks like me, only rounder around the waist and hips, and with earthy eyes and a freckled, sunburned nose. Her hair is grayer than I remember, and strokes of silver brush her hairline, but I would know that face anywhere. It is my favorite face. Mama's arms fold over me. "My Channy," she whispers in her sing-song voice. "My moon-faced girl. Why are you staring at me like that?" In her eyes, I am beautiful with smooth, tanned skin and a normal nose and mouth. And I do not remember having a sister. Is this real, Mama? You, Miata. We're a family. Of course it's real. I press my face against her neck, searching for the beat of her heart, steadier than the temple drums at dawn. Her nails are sticky with sugar, and there's flour in her hair and in the lines of her palms. Here, my dream often ends, and I wake up with a blissful smile on my face, truly content for a few moments before the truth sinks in. But this time, the dream drags on. A dark cloud skulks across the sky, and suddenly the kitchen roof flies apart. Ash rains down, smothering our house, the trees, the grass. The air grows thick, and Mama and Ada cough. I cough too. As I cover my mouth with my sleeve, I look up from Mama's arm, willing the storm to stop. But it doesn't. Strange. Normally, I control my dreams. Mama holds me tighter, but something feels wrong. Her hands have gone pale, her fingers shriveling. And her nails, their claws. No, I cry out, pushing Mama away. She isn't Mama at all, but Angma. Around me, my home vanishes. The jungle swallows me, and suddenly I'm falling down and down through a tunnel of trees and vines and ash. I land on my back on a flat moss-covered stone, a place I know all too well, the place where it all began. You miss your Mama, don't you? Angma says, returning to my side. She caresses my cheek with a soft paw. If only your father had brought me the right daughter 17 years ago, I would have saved your dear Mama. You would have grown up happy, loved. I recoil, but against my will I want nothing more than to go back to that alternate life. The one I dream of so often. Gods, I wish I weren't so easy to tempt. But alas, Angma continues. Not even the greatest magic can change the past. There's a trace of sorrow in her voice. It's the first time she's sounded even remotely human. I catch myself with a jolt. I must not be fooled by Angma's deceptions. My spear materializes in my hand. In my dreams, I never miss a target. But this is my dream no longer. I shoot up. Before I can stab the spear into her heart, she clicks her tongue, and my weapon vanishes. I jump back to retreat, but Angma grabs me by my neck. Years and years of training, and just like that, I am caught. Rash as always, Channy, she murmurs with a chuckle. I see Hakusu told you about his pearl. You think taking it back will kill me? You think it will break my curse? You forget I made you a promise. Right here, on this very rock, I gave you the face of a monster. And I swore to you that I wouldn't undo it unless you bring me Vanna. The hairs on the back of my neck bristle. I'm beginning to see where she's going with this. Corrupt the pearl may be, she says, but even it is bound to the power of a promise. All the hope I've hoarded in my heart crumples as I realize what she's saying. I don't care about my curse, I seethe. I don't care about my face. I will kill you. Angma laughs and laughs. She's seen into my dreams, and now she will wield them against me. In the glassy surface of her eyes, I see my reflection, the reflection of the girl I become in dreams. Then all at once it vanishes. Scales crack open my smooth skin, hard and ridged and green. My eyes turn yellow and constrict like a snake's. My rosy cheeks go hollow, and my nose flattens until it is no more. Stop. I cry out. This is my dream. Why can't I control it? Why can't I end it? 2 days, Angma hisses. Her breath is hot on my skin. Bring me your sister, or I will come for you. This is your last chance, Shinari. Do not make your father's mistake. Above, the sun devours itself from within. Its rim is the first to singe, crumbling like parchment being fed to the fire. Darkness envelopes the earth, and as Angma's claws sink into my chest, my scream tears the whole world into pieces.